Everybody, it's almost 4 o'clock. I can see that a number of attendees here are logging in one by one here. So I will wait a few more minutes, at least one, before we start. Okay, then we get started. First of all, a warm welcome to all of you. My name is Carl Iverson, and I will be your host today. Great if you let me know if there are some technical problems. Please use the chat function that you can reach either on the top of your screen or at the bottom, depending on where you're viewing this. We will record this webinar so that it will be available to watch later too. There will be basically two sessions in this webinar. First, a very brief introduction to Clucor Omics Explorer and Clucor, and then a live demonstration showing how you could access different types of public data from different sources, and also how you can extend Clucor Omics Explorer to download data from other sources using the functionality that we call templates. If you would like to ask questions, you're of course very welcome to do so. Please use the chat function. I will typically pick up the questions at the end of the session. And you're always, of course, also free to contact us using, for instance, support, or if you have a contact with a salesperson already, just reach out to us and we will do our best to answer your questions and support you. So let's get started. Clucor Omics Explorer is built on visualization, really trying to move away from the table-driven approaches that has been the tradition for so long time, and instead show you the data in plots, making it possible to instantly interact and dive into the important aspects and knowledge. In addition to providing good actionable results, the possibility to visualize is very, very good for communicating and working together with colleagues in different ways. Clucor has been around since 2007 with our head office in the Nordic parts of Europe, in Sweden. And we have customers in 35 countries right now, as you can see in blue. And we have native Windows version, native Mac versions, and we are supporting a lot of different types of data that we will come to. One way of looking at what people are using Clucor solutions for is to go to clucor.com and references and see examples or actually we try to collect all articles from peer-reviewed journals and list them at clucor.com references, and currently there is something of more than 700 and more than 30 in Nature journals. And another way for us to measure how well our program is received by our users is to check the renewal rate, which we do then for our customers. How many of you renew for the next year? And it is above 85%, which we are proud about. You can use Clucor Omics Explorer for a wide range of steps in your daily work. If you have a new data set, you would typically like to understand a little bit more about it before you start to dig into it in some more details, and we call it inspect, visualize, and explore. You would like to check for quality, remove artifacts, identify the structures that are in the data, potentially generate new hypotheses, and if you're have a genome type of experiment, you might want to browse the genome. Then there is typically a phase where you're comfortable with the data, but you would really like to find the results that you were looking for, based on your experiment setup and the objectives. You apply different types of statistical tests. You do survival analysis. You would like to communicate and report this to internally and externally, and there is a lot of tools for that, gene set enrichment analysis and so on, which is a combination of analysis, of course, but we separate out that in this part to talk about achieving biological insight, where you compare your results to what others have done. You can do that with gene set enrichment analysis. You can use it built in Gene Ontology browser, and of course download annotations and import them using the wizards we have. And then you can also work with machine learning. You can build classifiers and you can use the classifiers. Another aspect of actually testing and validating your results is to compare to what others have done. So that is something we will touch upon in this webinar today, where you can validate your results using a public data set already available. So you can work with many different types of data in Clucor Omics Explorer for a broad range of omics data, gene expression, of course, single cell, NGS, DNA methylation, proteomics, metabolomics, and proteins in different forms, and so on and so on. Simplified, there are two types of information that you need to bring into the program to be able to analyze your data. You need the data, the measured values from your experiment, and you need annotations, descriptive information for your samples, which groups you have or how you have tested, or different compounds and so on. But you also need annotations for your variables. So descriptive information, gene symbols, gene IDs, weights, or whatever. And in both areas, that we have a number of different ways to get data into the program. You can open files of various sorts, and you can also then, what we will talk about today, download data from public repositories and do that in few step processes. Okay, so that was my slides. I think it's much nicer if we can watch something live and make it easy and interactive. So today I will show you and talk about two main ways of using public data and use the inbuilt tool in Clucor Omics Explorer for that. One is the gene expression omnibus, which is, as you know, a large repository of expression data. And then I will also show you the TCGA download template, and I will also touch upon templates in some more broader aspects, which gives you more ideas. So we start with gene expression omnibus. And you go to the file menu and you go to download, and then you have here GeoDataset. Then you get this little small dialog that I hope you can see. And if you don't know your accession number, you would typically have to browse for that. And let's do that. So we press browse here, that will bring you directly to the Geo browser on NCBI, and you can then, let's say that we are interested in breast cancer. We search, and you see there is a lot of different experiments here. There are actually 2,343 series that match that. Then we can say that we would like something with quite many samples. So we can sort on samples. And then, of course, if you don't know this, that maybe it's too many with that. So let's go to page 2. I had one example here that I made sure worked with a reasonable amount of samples. Let's see if I can find it. Maybe it was on page 3. Or it just disappeared. So 5, 8, 11. Yeah. So here there is an example here. It was 241 samples, so it was on the next page probably. Breast cancer cell lines treated with 2 different compounds. So then we take that number, and the only thing you have to do now is to enter it here and press OK. Then it will be downloaded, and you will be asked a question if you would like to import all these variable annotations. And then I can say on Geo there are different type of quality on how data is uploaded on Geo. We don't have any options to control that. So sometimes you will get error messages saying that it's not available as expected, or maybe annotations are missing. Unfortunately, that is not something we can do anything about. And that's just how the quality of the data is on Geo. But what is nice here then is that I have now a data set in the area of breast cancer, which I was interested in, downloaded. It has 241 samples, 54,677 variables. So a large data set, and it's available for me directly to start to work with and analyze. So just for the fun of it, there are different cell lines, and that is maybe the structure we can see here in this data set a little bit. We can just color and see if it is. Yeah, it seems like some of the cell lines like moving like this, and since there are quite many, there are colors that are close to each other. Then I believe they are treated here in different ways. Yes. So we can color according to that, and we see that that is then well distributed among the different cell lines. So one thing you can do is maybe to filter on that. So can we find discriminating variables? Yeah, if we can. So now 100 and 200 different genes, that at least explains. And we seem that could be interesting to see, okay, which cell lines, what's that? So if we just press that, you can see that that is the cell line called UACC812, which seems to be behaving quite differently from the others. And there is another one. You can see that here, HCC1419. So if you were now researching breast cancer, which I'm sure some of you are doing, but not all of you, this might have been of clear interest. So that is how you could look at using public data. And the greatest benefit here is, of course, how quickly it goes. We have done this and started to talk about biology in just a few minutes. Important then, if you would like to continue to work with this data set, is that I recommend that you save it. So you go File and you go Save As, and then place it somewhere on your, this is Swedish for desktop. So then you save it, because then you don't have to download it next time if you do and add annotations, work with the data set, then you have your information available directly. So I really recommend that you save it locally. Let's have a look at the different data set, and typically I now would like to combine usage of your own data set. So I load my own data set here. I will do a statistical analysis. First I color it, and then I will do a statistical analysis here. Now I'll do it quite quick to, sorry, I should have a different test, but it's easy. So I would like to find the genes that can discriminate the group that is called TAL-AML1, like that. And you see we separate out the blue group here. And in the variables tab over here, that's an old one that I should kill like that and copy. So here we have it. Like that. Then I download a new data set, which also, I should have said this is from leukemia. So I will download a leukemia data set that I already know. So it's called GEC 13425. So it's a different leukemia data set. Again, I get the question here. And now I have two data sets up and running. One way of seeing that is to have two plots. I could also show you what's quite useful here in the log tab. You always see all your open data sets, and you get also the information about the statistics and so on that has been applied. But let's go back here. I select my newly downloaded data set. I go to the variables tab here, and then I take the list that I generated with my first data set and say that I would only like to look at the variables in that list in the second data set, and I do it just by checking that. Then I see that it seems to separate. That list has the effect that it separates my data in two groups. So let's look at the annotations here. And I have the characteristics and I color it. It seems like my list generated with the dataset here seems to separate out these yellow samples and some purple ones and one orange one, or several orange ones and one purple. Okay, let's look what that is. It's a TAL-AML and with hyperdiploid and some other. So here is an example on how I have very quickly validated the list generated in this data set in a public data set that is available here. So that's how you can work. And of course, you could have downloaded several leukemia data sets and you could have generated several lists and so on and so on. So that's a very good example on that. So that was Geo in two different ways. So we leave Geo now, and we move on to templates. If you haven't used templates, or your organization are not using templates, I will just give you a very, very brief introduction. So there are basically two purposes of templates. One, it's a way for us to help you to automate steps that you would like to take several times. And here are a number of examples. So for instance, if you would like to do t-test and fold change many times or on many different data sets, and you would like to have the exactly same plots each time, you can use a template like this. So it filters by fold change and p-value and then displays a heat map and a box plot. You can use this example template that we are shipping with the program to create a version for your that you can use in your organization. It requires some small scripting in Python, but it's not overly complicated. The other aspect of templates is that it gives an extension to the program that we can use to provide new functionality quickly, but also as you as an organization can use to add functionality. So have a look here. Are a number of examples in the space of data download. We have the 10x Genomics Assistant, which makes it easy to load single cell data that has been generated with the 10x Genomics Cell Ranger software. And so making it easy, if you have data from Cell Ranger, this template or wizard or whatever you would like to call it, we call it template, will help you to import that data and make it available for further analysis. Another example here is a download template that goes to ENCODE on UCSC and downloads RNA-seq data just to show you how such a template can be used. So that is an example that you can use in your organization, downloading data from other sources that you would like to have and work with regularly, or maybe also from internal sources. Doesn't have to be external. So if you have data on certain servers internally, this could be a way to automate that download into Cluecore. And then we have for really truly public data here, we have for TCGA, where we are accessing data that is made available and stored by Broad Institute, so the GDAC. And we have currently, there are 27 of the cohorts that are available, and they are listed here. And the steps you have to take here is just you need to decide on the cohort that you want, and then you need to decide if you should have normalized data or not. So let's stay with breast cancer, and we would like to have normalized data. That's all you have to do. And this takes a little bit, a minute maybe to download. And if you are finding other type of data that we don't have a template for, you have external sources. I will in the end show you just very, very briefly the wizards that we have that helps you to import data in files of different structure. So that what you see in front of you now is the BRCA data set from TCGA. It's large, it's 1,212 samples. You see that down to your left here, and there are 20,531 genes. And if we have a look here on there are annotations like the histological type. What more do we have? Of course, there is a pathologic stage. We can color according to that if you want, and then, as always, you could start to say, I'm only interested in late stages or whatever. And you see large data sets works very nice with Cluecore. Can we find discriminating variables for the stages? Doesn't really look like that. You see very not strong Q values, some There's also some samples that look very different that maybe we will have to look into in some more detail. So I'm just playing around. Since we have 600 samples here in the middle, you see we have 603, and there are only 5 out that dominates quite a lot. They have to be very different. So if I were going to analyze this data in more detail, I would really like to understand why those 5 samples are so different. So one way you could create a new annotation and just place those 5 samples like this. Okay, now you have them, take them away and see what happens, and then there pops out another. So that seems to be some samples that are very, very different, and there are probably a very good explanation for that, but not something that we are going to answer right now. So that was all that was required to get one of the data sets from TCGA downloaded, and you have all the options now to start to work with that. So that brings me to the last step here, open with Wizard. So you can open files. So if you don't have a direct access, as I have showed you here, to Geo or TCGA with one of the templates, you could download a file. It should be normalized data normally. And then you can go through the steps with the import wizard. You read the text here, but the principle is that it will help you to pick out the fields and blocks of information from your file and put it into the structure that is required by Cluecore to be able to process it. So it really helps you. You will do it by answering a number of questions here. So first, is this a raw count matrix? Now we can see it's not counts, but if it would have been counts, then you can also get the help with normalization. So that's an exception. Then we are very nice in the way that you can have a comma separated, semicolon, tab separated, or other separated, and it can be TXT, CSV, or TSV file. So a lot of flexibility to make it easy. In this case, we are tab separated. Orientation doesn't matter, so it can be transposed, but now the rows are variables. And then if the data matrix starts here or there or whatever, doesn't really matter. You just decide that is my first cell in the data matrix. Then I need to define my end cell. And if I don't need every column, there might be some quality numbers. It's easy to do that. Then I'm going to add my variable annotations, and I only need the first ones. I don't need the third one. I just select them, and I need all sample annotations, and I use multiple select on my keyboard. And that is how you get data in using the wizard. Super easy. Follow the steps. And you have data in, and you can start to analyze it. So that is the steps that and the functionality that I plan to show you. I hope it has given you some inspiration to load more data and do more analysis in Cluecore. I'm sure you're aware of that we are running a lot of webinars and free trainings at the moment due to the COVID situation around the world. We are doing our best to support you. So if you feel that some things that I have shown you here today you were not 100% familiar with, take the opportunity to go to cluecore.com webinars and sign up for either a free training or another webinar. You're free to ask questions. There are one question, how to compare the public data to your own data, and I believe it came before I showed that, so that was a very good question for me. And if there are some other questions, I will be very, very happy to answer them. Where can I watch previous seminars? You go to Cluecore.com and videos. Let me try to show you. Let's see here. If you you can do either like this, webinars. I think it should pop up down. No, here you have to go to watch videos. And then you can see here you have the category webinar. And then you will get only those, or you can see all. Let's see, I have some more questions here. Yes. Okay, here are a couple of questions. So I will try to see here. 10x data has a lot of zero values. How does Cluecore resolve that? There are a functionality that we call pre-filters. So you go to your data tab here and then you press. So if you would like to remove variables with a lot of zeros, you do like that, then you say it should be at least in 50% of your samples, and then you press on, and then that is handled. So the pre-filtering here is very powerful with a lot of flexibility, and you can use that, and then you will remove that type of artifacts. You can then also, depending on what data have, you can hit transform with log transform. You can put a threshold if you have negative values and so on. And then I get a question here about data imputation for missing values. Yes, we will always impute numbers in empty cells because that's required for instance, PCA. And there are, so I brought up the test data set because I would like to view that in the table view here. Then it's probably difficult to see. Okay, I'll take the heat map instead. That was not great either. Outdo, and show. Show missing values. So that is my missing value color here in black. So then there are 3 missing values in this data set, there, and there, and they are imputed. And coming back here to answer that, there's also 2 methods for what you can have as imputation model, either a simple average or a more complex KNN method, up to you to choose from. Yeah, you just try is one way. Then how to make wizard and annotate data are not clear yet. Do you have a webinar for that? Yeah, we have webinars and recorded information on wizard for sure. So maybe we search for wizard. Import data with the wizard. Here is a video that you can watch. And in this webinar, we go through the annotation wizard. So I hope that will help you. Then I have here, I get a question about price. Then it's much better to reach out to us. Please do that, and we will take that discussion directly, because depending on how many you are and what type of organization, the prices will vary a little bit. So we have very good prices for academic use, which we will make sure that they end up in a good way. So write me a short email or someone else at Cluecore. You can always use the email address sales@cluecore.com or the contact sheet here. If you get the quote here on the homepage, you just press that. We will be happy to help you. For the geodata analysis, you showed you didn't log transform. Was the data already log transformed? Yes, I believe that the geodata is already normalized, so you get normalized data there, including log transformation. How many GC data sets can be processed simultaneously? Is there a maximum? Yeah. At some point, of course, you will end up stressing your computer in terms of memory. So I think it's rather an answer on how much memory you have on computer and how much hard disk. And then there, I think also realistically, when you work, you will don't want to have too many data sets up open at the same time, because it gets complicated just to manage them. But there are no realistic limitations in Cluecore in that sense. Maybe there is a limitation on 65,000 or something like that, which is one integer in data capacity. But we have never had anyone having a problem. Then I get a functionality request here in terms of question about UMaps, and that is something we are looking at. It is planned for future releases, and in general on that we try to listen, or not, we don't try, we listen a lot to our customers on what we shall implement. So if you're a customer, reach out to your contact at Cluecore and let us know what you think is the most important functionality, and we will try to prioritize it and add it. Okay, great. I hope I've answered all the questions. Thank you very much for good questions, and I look forward to talking to you again, and don't hesitate to reach out to us. Use the contact session here, and we will be very happy to continue the discussions.